I must admit something honestly. Until 6 months ago, whenever someone mentioned Burkina Faso, I only thought of poverty and instability. Like many others, I believed what the BBC and CNN said about the country. I used to think Ibrahim Traoré was just a young, lucky military officer in a hopeless nation. I was completely wrong. Today, as I stand before the reality of the 847-kilometer three-nation highway project that Burkina Faso is building entirely with its own resources and people, I realize I have been deceived by the Western media. The true story of this road will surprise you as it surprised me, and you will understand why Ibrahim Traoré is shaking an entire world system. To understand why this highway project is so monumental, we must go back to 2020. Burkina Faso was once a nation completely isolated in terms of transportation. Its roads were in a state of severe degradation, with 87% of national highways unusable during the rainy season. The average time to transport goods from the capital, Ouagadougou, to neighboring countries was 18 to 25 days, due to the need to detour around bad routes and through multiple intermediary countries. Logistics costs accounted for up to 35% of the value of goods, double the African average. People in rural areas were completely cut off from the market, unable to sell their agricultural products, leading to 67% of the population living below the poverty line. Development experts from the World Bank and IMF asserted that Burkina Faso needed at least 15 to 20 billion dollars in loans and 25 to 30 years to build modern transport infrastructure. They produced 500-page reports, complex figures, and seemingly irrefutable loan proposals. For decades, they maintained the narrative that Africa could only develop through Western aid and expertise. They were dead wrong, until Ibrahim Traoré appeared and completely changed the game with a bold vision to build 847 kilometers of highway connecting Burkina Faso with Mali and Niger, entirely with domestic resources. Ibrahim Traoré is not a typical politician or a Western-educated son of a wealthy family. Born in 1988 to a poor farming family in the Boucle du Mohun province, he grew up in hardship and witnessed firsthand the struggles of his compatriots. After graduating with a degree in geology from the University of Ouagadougou in 2011, he joined the army with the dream of protecting his homeland. Over 11 years of service, he became known as a young, incorruptible officer close to his soldiers and possessing a deep strategic vision. Notably, he possessed a special ability to mobilize collective spirit and organize large-scale projects with limited resources. When Ibrahim Traoré assumed leadership of the country on September 30th, 2022, his first message was simple yet resolute. We will build Burkina Faso ourselves, with the hands and minds of the Burkinabe people. No one else can do this for us. But unlike the empty promises of previous politicians, Ibrahim Traoré had prepared a concrete, scientific, and achievable plan for the transnational highway project. Phase 1, from January to August 2023, focused on national mobilization with the goal of rallying 2 million citizens to participate, organizing 50,000 local work teams, preparing 200,000 tons of construction materials from domestic resources, and completing the route survey and design with a team of Burkinabe engineers. Phase 2, from September 2023 to June 2024, involved the construction of the first 400 kilometers from Ouagadougou to the Malian border, applying construction technology adapted to local conditions, training 15,000 specialized technicians from among the populace, and establishing 20 logistics support stations along the route. Phase 3, from July 2024 to December 2025, would complete the remaining 447 kilometers connecting to Niger, build 15 major bridges across rivers and valleys, establish an automated security and maintenance system along the entire route, and create 100,000 sustainable jobs from the project. And the most important factor that made all the difference: everything would be done by the people of Burkina Faso, with the resources and intellect of Burkina Faso. no aid from the World Bank, no loans from the IMF, no dependence on Western technology, no need for foreign experts. And then, on January 15th, 2023, the miracle began. January 15th, 2023 will be recorded as the day Burkina Faso changed forever. There were no loudspeakers urging them on, no top-down propaganda, no threats or coercion. There was only a simple message passed from mouth to mouth, from village to village. Let us build our road together with our own hands, so that our children can have a better future. The people's response was immediate and more powerful than even Ibrahim Traoré had imagined. In Kadiogo province, where the capital Ouagadougou is located, over 150,000 people, aged 15 to 70, voluntarily gathered at 25 launch points. They brought shovels, hoes, self-made wheelbarrows, and even small excavators that agricultural cooperatives had saved up to buy. The result in the very first week, they leveled 15 kilometers of road base and dug 8 kilometers of drainage ditches. The work ethic was so fervent that many refused to take a lunch break. People sang traditional Mossi songs while working to encourage each other. In Bolkimde province, in the country's center, the unique challenge was the rocky, hilly terrain, which seemed impossible for manual road construction. But Mr. Burema Sawadogo, 58, a local stonemason, shared, "I have been a stonemason for 35 years. Today, for the first time, I feel my profession has real meaning. We are not just breaking rocks to sell, we are building a future for our children." The most touching detail was the sight of him working alongside his 25-year-old son and 12-year-old grandson, 3 generations laboring for a common goal. The local challenge was breaking hard rock with manual tools, but they innovated a method of using fire to heat the rock and then cold water to crack it, making it easier to break apart. In Pasore province, near the Mali border, the scale of mobilization was even more impressive, with 95,000 people participating over an 180-kilometer stretch. The unique contribution of this region was its self-organized logistics system. They set up 12 collective kitchens, serving 8,000 meals a day entirely from local produce, and created a 3-shift continuous work rotation to ensure 24/7 progress. They connected with other regions through a network of local radio and mobile phone messaging systems to coordinate supplies and manpower between provinces. What was astonishing was not just the scale or speed, but the spontaneous spirit of unity among the people. Fatou Ouedraogo, 34, is a primary school teacher in the village of Komsilga, Kadiogo province. She has 3 young children aged 6 to 12, and her husband is a millet farmer. Her family is considered poor, with an income just enough to get by. When she heard about the highway project, she decided to participate, despite having to take a break from teaching. Her motivation was simple. "My children ask why students in the city can go to school by bus, while they have to walk 8 kilometers every day. I had no answer, but now I can do something to change that." Her specific action was joining the material transport team, carrying 40 to 50 kilograms of sand and gravel on her back for 3 to 5 kilometers every day, from the sandpit to the construction site. Her deepest personal feeling? "With every load of sand I carry, I think of the road my children will take to school. With every drop of sweat I shed, I see hope for my family's future." But building an 847-kilometer highway was not just about emotion or spirit. It was about science, organization, and operational efficiency on a scale unprecedented in African history. The distribution system was designed in a pyramid model with Ibrahim Traoré at the top, 13 provincial governors as regional coordinators, 350 district chiefs managing local logistics, 1,200 village chiefs coordinating grassroots manpower, and 15,000 team leaders directly supervising daily work. The division of labor followed natural expertise. Local masons were in charge of the foundation and roadbed. Farmers with excavation experience handled earthworks, metal workers made rebar and reinforcements, and women and the elderly managed logistics and food supply. Coordination was achieved through a local FM radio system broadcasting 3 times a day to update progress and coordinate efforts, WhatsApp groups for the 1,200 team leaders to share real time information, and a traditional flag signaling system for urgent communication where there was no phone service. Conflict resolution was handled by a council of elders composed of the 50 most respected individuals from the communities to mediate disputes, applying traditional customary law combined with modern regulations, and a principle of consensus-based decision-making for all important issues. Simple technologies were employed, including mobile concrete mixers, self-made by Burkinabe engineers, solar-powered water pumps for construction sites, GPS and surveying equipment provided by the local university, and trucks self-modified from old vehicles to transport materials. They utilized available resources, exploiting 45 sand and stone quarries along the route with community consent, using wood from sustainably managed forests for formwork, and leveraging existing agricultural tools and machinery from cooperatives. Notable innovations included the invention of a cement block mixed with local laterite that reduced costs by 40%, the design of a drainage system suitable for the tropical rainy season, and the creation of specialized digging tools from scrap metal. Information was shared through the daily radio program Our Road, bulletin boards at 500 community gathering points, and weekly town hall meetings for updates and feedback. Quality was ensured by having each 5-kilometer section inspected by a team consisting of an engineer, a village chief, and a representative of the people. They applied African road standards adjusted to local conditions, tested materials at least 3 times before use, and implemented immediate rework if standards were not met. Measurement and tracking were done through GPS marking of each completed kilometer, photo documentation before and after each stage, daily progress reports from 350 team leaders, and weekly consolidated reports to a central command. Adjustments and improvements were made through monthly feedback sessions with the community, quick adaptation when encountering difficult terrain, and technology improvements based on field experience. Transparency was achieved through the monthly publication of all costs and funding sources, open access for media and visitors to the construction sites, and regular town halls where Ibrahim Traoré directly reported on progress. A specific example is the section of road through the Nakambe Valley, where 45 young Burkinabe engineers and 1,200 local workers built a 280-meter concrete bridge over the river. They began with a 2-week geological survey using self-made equipment, then spent 6 weeks laying the foundation using a caisson technique suitable for the sandy riverbed. The biggest challenge was the early arrival of the rainy season, which caused the river to rise by 4 meters, but they solved it by building a temporary dam and a self-designed water pumping system. The final result was a bridge completed on schedule at a cost of only 1/3 of the price quoted by a foreign company. The measurable results showed construction progress went from 0 kilometers to 285 kilometers in the first 8 months, twice as fast as initially planned. The number of participants grew from an expected 500,000 to an actual 1.2 million people, exceeding the plan by 140%. The actual cost was only $2.3 billion, compared to the initial estimate of $4.5 billion, saving $2.2 billion. Job creation reached 180,000 positions against a target of 100,000, exceeding the plan by 80%. Mamadou Kone, 29, a young engineer who had just graduated from the University of Ouagadougou, shared, "I had previously applied for jobs at 15 foreign companies, but was rejected because they said I lacked experience. Today, I am leading a team of 200 people building the most complex section of the project. I feel I am not just an engineer, but a builder of my country's future." My life has completely changed since joining this project. I have a stable income, am respected in my community, and most importantly, I have the chance to prove the capabilities of young Burkinabe people. September 12th, 2023 will be forever remembered in the history of Burkina Faso and perhaps the world. It was the day the first truck traveled the 285-kilometer stretch from Ouagadougou to the city of Ouahigouya near the Mali border. A journey that once took 2 days on bad roads with frequent stops for repairs now took only 3.5 hours on a smooth new asphalt road. At the destination, thousands of people had gathered to welcome the truck with banners reading, "We did it," and cheers that echoed throughout the city. The numbers speak for themselves. The cost of transporting goods dropped from 85 cents per kilometer to 23 cents per kilometer, a 73% decrease in just 8 months. Travel time from Ouagadougou to the northern provinces decreased from an average of 14 hours to 4.5 hours, a 68% time saving. The price of agricultural products in Ouagadougou's markets dropped by an average of 25% due to lower logistics costs, directly benefiting consumers. The number of trucks in circulation increased from 45 per day to 340 per day, a 655% increase in the first 3 weeks of operation. But the most impressive figure was not a dry statistic, but the national pride you could feel in the eyes of every Burkinabe, a belief in their own abilities, an unprecedented spirit of unity, and hope for a future they were building with their own hands. Ibrahim Traore, at the scene that day, said, "Today, we are not just inaugurating a road, we are proving to the world that Africans can create their own miracles. This is just the first step. We will continue until Burkina Faso becomes the transportation hub of West Africa, until every child can go to school without walking tens of kilometers, until farmers can bring their products to market on the same day they are harvested." But this was only the beginning of a larger revolution spreading across West Africa. Within 6 months, changes visible to the naked eye had appeared throughout Burkina Faso. GDP per capita increased from $715 to $1,240, a 73% increase thanks to reduced logistics costs and increased trade efficiency. Farmer income increased by an average of 156% as they could quickly access large markets and reduce post-harvest losses from 35% to 12%. New job creation reached 245,000 positions, not only from the road project but from ancillary sectors like logistics, maintenance, and services along the route. Agricultural exports increased by 185%, with key products like cotton, sesame, and shea butter now able to quickly reach markets in Mali and Niger. Foreign investment in Burkina Faso increased by 420% as investors recognized the potential of a nation with modern transport infrastructure. A before and after comparison shows, before the project, 67% of the population lived below the poverty line. After 8 months, this figure dropped to 31%. The school enrollment rate for children increased from 61% to 89% as travel to school became easier. The quality of education improved significantly as teachers from the city could easily travel to teach in rural areas. Average life expectancy increased from 59.3 to 62.1 years due to improved access to healthcare services. The security situation improved markedly, with the response time of security forces decreasing from 4 to 6 hours to 45 minutes, thanks to rapid mobility. Aminata Traore, 45, a small trader at the Rude Woko market in Ouagadougou, shared, "Before, I could only sell 20 kilograms of beans a day because goods from the countryside arrived late and were expensive. Now I sell 80 kilograms a day for 30% less. My family's life has completely changed. My children can now attend university because I have enough money to pay their tuition.